Good morning. Good morning, Rev here this morning. It's Tuesday, October the 5th. I hope you're safe and well and blessed this morning and that you're being a witness for Christ. It's what we're commanded to do to go and make disciples uh, to the ends of the earth, knowing that Christ is with us to the end of the age. I'm going to read this morning possibly a familiar passage to you. The disciples have put Jesus in a boat and they're taking him back across the Sea of Galilee. This is Mark chapter 4, beginning with verse 36. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. There were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern sleeping on a cushion. And the disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care that if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." And then the wind died down and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" May God add his blessing to the reading and hearing of his word this morning. Do you remember a show called Under the Dome? It was a show where this big dome had all of a sudden just appeared over a section of the earth, and things were controlled inside of it. It was I don't know. It was a very interesting show. And what I found out is there is actually really a dome out in Tucson, Arizona, or was. It's called Biosphere 2, and the idea was to test if we could recreate the Earth's ecosystem in a closed environment, so that we could help people be able to live in space for extended amounts of time. But it failed. It failed because of different reasons. There are a lot of stumbling blocks. Oxygen levels got really low, and the media that deemed it a failure, and it tried again in 1994, but it 6 months later it collapsed, or not the dome, but I mean the project collapsed due to mismanagement, and also the fact that a couple crew members sabotaged the project. One of the things that's missing in the dome is wind. And normally we wouldn't think too much about that. But you know what? We need wind. I mean, can you imagine a world without it? Lakes and oceans would be calm, falling leaves wouldn't blow in the streets. And you wouldn't expect trees to suddenly fall over, but that's what happened at the biosphere. The trees growing inside this huge windless dome, they grew faster than normal until suddenly they just collapsed under their own weight. And they finally came up with an explanation saying that the trees need wind to the stress of the wind to grow strong. Well, Jesus, he led his disciples experience some gale force winds to strengthen their faith. During a night of crossing some very familiar waters to them, this storm, which came up suddenly, proved to really be too much for them. The wind and the waves were swamping their boat while the exhausted Jesus slept in the stern. And in a panic, they woke him up. Don't you care that we're going to drown? And I'm sure they wondered what he was thinking, and then they began to find out. Jesus told the wind and the waves to be quiet and asked his friends, do you still not have any faith? Living in a protective bubble sounds good, but I wonder, is it really? How strong would our faith be if we couldn't discover for ourselves his reassuring, be still, when the winds of circumstances blow. You may recall the movie Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, and Captain Kirk is confronted with the opportunity to give up the pain in his life. And like Kirk, we've all made wrong choices. And Kirk went on to say, I turned left when I should have turned right. The pains and the mistakes that we make in life, we must carry with us. They're the things that make us who we are. If we lose them, we lose ourselves. Kirk said, I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain. We need the wind. I know a lot of times we don't like it, but we need it. It helps us grow. It helps us grow stronger. It makes us who we are, and it helps us to be able to help others when their winds blow. We don't have to face the stress of the winds alone. Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. And he also told us in John chapter 16, he says, in this world you will have trouble. But then he said, take heart, for I have overcome the world. We cannot face the wind alone. But with Christ, we are more than conquerors. We are overcomers. So, let the wind blow, because Jesus is in our boat. Hallelujah. I'm Pastor Mark. Be safe, be well, be blessed. I love you guys. Go do something for Jesus, and I'll see you tomorrow.